mentioned that we needed a GatorBox cinematic universe earlier. I'm like, we got one. What do you think this is? Who do you think this is? This is Ness. This is my canon. Apparently, she's supposed to be an anthropomorphic alligator, but she takes the form of this, and she's a stuffed animal that nobody ever hears actually speak, but apparently everyone here has conversations with her, and you treat her like she's a real person. So the lore goes deep with GatorBox. The lore goes deep. Streamlabs, please. Everything. Retro Nico 497 is our 600th follower on the channel. You don't win anything, Retro Nico, but thank you for the follow. Thank you for helping us reach 600. That's not a particularly. It's not like a milestone number, but it's like a nice whole number. So that's something worth pointing out. So thank y'all very much. Hang on. King Mayhem 52, thank you for being the 601st follower. just barely missed it. You barely missed it. I'm sorry. As you guys might know, last week was the Houston Arcade Expo, the 18th annual Houston Arcade Expo, and I showed up with Tuna Boat Tony B, and he and I and a couple of other folks, we all kind of hung out together, and we took a look at everything there was to do. I met up with my buddy Gilgatex, who's doing the Game Boy Advance console challenge, and he said I was the first person from Twitch that he's ever met in person, so that means in the world of Gilgatex, I am both the coolest and the least coolest person simultaneously, because there's only one person on the list, so so I'm the coolest person he's ever met by virtue of being the only person on the list, and I'm also at the bottom of the list, too. It was a lot of fun meeting Gilgatex. He bodied me, actually, he hustled me in Duke Nukem 3D. He's very good at that, and then we played some digital bowling game, and he kicked my ass at that, too. So basically, the moral of the story is, if you meet Gilgatex somewhere, and he asks if you want to play a game, don't, unless you're okay with, like, losing. But I had a lot of fun at the event, and tonight's unbox is going to be junk I got in Houston. It's the third part in a series where it was junk I got in LA, junk I got in Dallas, junk I got in Houston is the latest iteration. So I'll talk a little bit more about the expo as I'm showing off some of the things we got, but I figured the best way to start things off would be, I guess, to show off some of the classic games I picked up, since it is a gaming convention. And one of the first things I got, and this was given to me, not actually, I just got done talking about Gilgatex doing the Game Boy Advance challenge, so you might be thinking, oh, well, he brought me this as a gift because we were going to meet up and hang out at the convention. No, somebody else gave me this, and then I showed Gilgatex. I'm like, you jealous about this, man? Take a look at this. It's Spyro the Dragon 2, Season of Flame, for the Game Boy Advance, which I don't think is a particularly good game. I don't think really any of the Game Boy Advance Spyro games are worth playing. But this one, still sealed. It's still, it's pristine. It's still, you know, in this case, in this iteration, Spyro still has his virginity. He hasn't fucked that harlot Cinder yet, or whatever, or whatever. I don't know who the hell this guy is. I don't know who the hell this guy is, but I'm really praying to God that time has forgotten both of them, because this is the type of shit that got me to stop playing Spyro the Dragon games, okay? I came here for the dragons, not for the monkey, or I guess that's a kangaroo, I think. Maybe it's a kangaroo. Not for the monkey with a gun and the fucking kangaroo, okay? That's got nothing to do with dragons, okay? Nothing. It's bullshit. That's why when we bought the Reignited trilogy, we played the first game in the trilogy, and I'm like, all right, well, I think I got my $33 worth. We're done. We're done. That's it. I'm not gonna play the other two. I don't give a shit about Ripto's Rage or the one where he skateboards. That was the first game, and then I also got some Famicom games that I picked up just for varying reasons. These are games that will probably appear later on in the stream, not tonight's stream, but you know, in future streams, when we start testing those weird bootleg systems that seem like they might accept Famicom cartridges, we can start plugging some of these in and see if they work. The first game I picked up is Nintendo's F1 Race, which This is a game that came out in 1984, but it did not make the jump over to the United States with the release of the NES in 1985, because by that point Nintendo had already, I think, produced Mach Rider, which I guess they felt was a better high-speed type racing game. F1 Race is pretty rudimentary compared to that. So this is one of the early Famicom games that could have been a black box title when the system came stateside, but this one stayed in Japan. And this is also one of the games you see on all those bootleg compilations where they hack it apart and turn it into UFO race and boat race and bike race and all this other crap. But F1 Race is a first-party game that Nintendo made, and it did not get released on the NES. I don't believe it's ever been released in any kind of like digital format. It's not, you know, like how we got Excite Bike Versus on the Nintendo Switch Online. They haven't given us F1 Race. It's not been on the Virtual Console, so it's really kind of an oddball. It's not that great of a game. It's like a crappier pole position, but I bought it simply for the novelty of now having a game for the NES that was never actually released in the United States. So that's why I picked up this one. And now that I've said that, the next game is Konami's Road Fighter. And if I flip that forward, does it say? Yeah, it says it right. It's kind of faded, but it's Road Fighter. This game is absolute crap, but it does have a pretty sweet label. If I focus on, hang on, look at that. Look at that. It's like 80s as fuck. All these fast cars, and he's dodging a semi-truck. I don't think there's actually any semi-trucks in the Road Fighter game. And if there is, I haven't played it long enough to get to the levels that have semi-trucks. This ain't bump and jump, okay? But I picked up Road Fighter for the irony, because we've played so many bootleg plug-and-play bullshit systems that have had... We've seen this game on this stream dozens of times in its many hacked iterations, and they're all bad, and they all suck because they're based on a game that's not even good to start with. And I thought it would be funny to just own a copy of Road Fighter legitimately, because I already own 40 other copies of it, and they're all bootlegs. So now I got the official one. Now I've made it official. I've got the actual Konami Road Fighter. I'm probably never going to play it because I hate Road Fighter. But so we got Road Fighter, and then finally the last Famicom game I have is Mylon's Secret Castle. Some of y'all that watched the Extra Life Marathon might recognize this game as one of the game challenges that I failed, because this game is off the goddamn wall and it's very cryptic. And the best part about owning it in Japanese is that it will make just as little sense in Japanese as it would as if I was trying to read some of the on-screen text in English. So this is one of those games where you don't really need to know how to read the language to play it, because even if you did, it doesn't make any sense one way or the other. You shoot bubbles at doors that are invisible after you push blocks. It is one of the most cryptic... This is like the type of game you would have to buy a subscription to Nintendo Power for just to beat. Because when we did the challenge, I knew where some of the bullshit secrets were, but apparently I did not know where enough of the bullshit secrets were, and I flunked the challenge. And I bought a copy of Mylon's Secret Castle for the Famicom, again, just for the comedy factor of owning a game that I will never beat, no matter how many times I play it. Just for a system I don't even own, so... And yeah, Mr. Flammable, Mylon's Secret Castle, more like Mylon's shitty asshole. So that's another angry video game nerdism for you. And then, but hang on, you got the Famicom, but then you also got the Super Famicom. Now, I actually I picked up a few games with the intent to possibly play them for personal leisure, and not just as a joke where it's like, haha, Mylon's Secret Castle. I'll probably play F1 Race, but I'm not going to play Road Fighter. This is probably going to be something that sits on the shelf behind me as a fucking joke. But the Super Famicom games are ones that I actually bought because I wanted to play. The first one, of course, being Kirby Super Deluxe, also known in the States as Kirby Superstar. I don't think there's any major differences between this and the North American release. Just besides the fact that I don't own Kirby Superstar for the Super Nintendo, because that game, might as well be trying to fucking buy Earthbound or something. I don't got that kind of money. All right, Kirby Superstar isn't like Earthbound levels of stupid, but it's outside of my price range for a Kirby game. Speaking of Earthbound, they did have somebody there who was selling a complete in-box copy of Earthbound, which means it's the big box with the strategy guide, and they were asking $750 for it, but they would consider an offer of $700 when somebody walking around asked. And I'm like, Earthbound for $700? No. I don't, that is dumb. I feel like that's an excessive price for for that game. People need to stop giving as much of a shit as they do about Earthbound. It's a okay game. It's not a $700 okay game. Okay? It's not. It's good, but it ain't that good. It ain't that good. So aside from Kirby Superstar, I'm sorry, Kirby Super Deluxe or Kirby Fun Pack if you live in Europe or whatever, I also picked up Super Mario World for the Super Famicom. But I liked it because technically it was known as Super Mario Bros. 4 when it was released in Japan, but that subtitle didn't make it to the United States, and it seems like that's just kind of been kicked under the rug, and nobody ever calls this game Super Mario 4 anymore. It's just Super Mario World. It's what everybody calls it. Just didn't own a copy of this, but I figured I'd pick it up, and it's got some neat artwork right there. I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of it before, but I don't know. It has a really nice label, really nice artwork. I actually prefer it to the artwork we have on the American release because this is bright. It has a lot of things going on. It's nice to look at, and you know, it's Super Mario World. You can't go wrong with that. It's a good game. We've played it before. We've played it on Your Level Sucks as a joke, and I enjoy it. And then finally, I got a copy of Puyo Puyo because this game, every time Puyo Puyo showed up in the United States, it was always like they had to hide it. So they never just released it as Puyo Puyo until we got the... I mean, even with Puyo Puyo Tetris, they still had to mix it in with something to get you to play it. You had Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which is just this, and then you had Kirby's Avalanche, which is just this. So it's like, why couldn't you just release it as it is? I mean, they even got the little fucking guy right there. They even got the little dude from Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, the little guy right, like you're not hiding anything. Taboo, yeah, it's just like Panel de Pon, where they brought it over here as like Tetris Attack, and then like, what was it, Pokemon Puzzle League or Pokemon Puzzle Challenge or something. Like, they never just released it with its original graphics and name or whatever the English equivalent of that would have been. They had to like shoehorn it in because I guess they thought people wouldn't care. It's like, I think putting characters from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon into this game and putting it on the Sega Genesis is probably a worse experience than just playing Puyo Puyo, just vanilla. And I will like to say one thing I will commend these sellers for is that they did not hack up the backs of any of these goddamn cartridges to make them fit on a North American console. So these cartridge shells are not butchered, because some of mine are. So that's good. I can cut the tabs off of the console. Oh wait, I already did. So don't need to be cutting slots in the back of the back of the games. So we got those. Now I guess I can go over the computer games real quick. Some of these I'm gonna kind of run through. I got some of these from Half Price Books and some of them from like a junk dealer. Some of them we might show on stream, and one of them we will see on stream. And I'll go ahead and I'll show that one first. So coming up, tonight's game is this 100 Action Arcade Games Volume 4. We'll talk more about this in a second because this is not the disc that was in this case when I bought it. Got a copy of a game called Bugdom, which appears to be some type of sexual act I have not heard of before, where I guess you get dominated by bugs. I looked on the back, and I don't know what this is. It looks like a crappy Bugs Life movie. The quote on the back: "The incredible gameplay, graphics, and sound make this a must for all gamers." And that quote is attributed to CNET, which is the authority on video games as far as I'm concerned. I trust what they have to say, just like I would trust their review of a fucking coupon toolbar for Internet Explorer. So that's the best they could get. If you open it up, says over 23 different bugs. 23, huh? 23 different bugs and enemies, 10 huge and exciting levels with lots of terrains and environments to explore, high replayability factor, guarantees hours of fun with support for joysticks and gamepads. The peaceful realm of Bugdom has been overthrown by the evil King Thorax and his army of fire ants. Join the young warrior, Roly McFly, as he journeys through secluded gardens, ancient oak forests, and even into the heart of King Thorax's evil anthill castle to restore peace to Bugdom and save Princess Ladybug. And none of these graphics make any goddamn sense. It's like a mosquito with boxing gloves on. I don't know why he's got boxing gloves. I feel like if you were gonna weaponize a mosquito in an anthropomorphized way, you'd give him like a spear or a sword, because he sticks you with his nose to suck blood. Giving him boxing gloves is stupid. You would give boxing gloves to this guy who's, I guess, supposed to be a pill bug, but he's got 8 legs, which is fucking incorrect. So, basically, if you're an entomologist, you're gonna hate this game. I'm not an entomologist, I already hate it, but at some point, we'll check out Bugdom. The Omega Stone. The Riddle of the Sphinx 2. And the only reason I picked this up, if you flip over to the back, the best-selling adventure game, Riddle of the Sphinx. See, I wasn't sure if they were referring to the game on the Atari 2600, because I've never beaten that game. I've tried to figure it out, and I realized I don't give a shit. And I've 30 years later, I've never beaten Riddle of the Sphinx. But I think Riddle of the Sphinx, when it's said 2, I don't think it's a sequel to the Atari game. I think they did make a PC game about it, and this is some type of adventure game that, I shit you not, is like, it's got like 4 discs, so there's probably a lot of cutscenes of pyramids and crap. So this has just as many discs as Final Fantasy VIII, so I'm sure that's a great barometer for how good of a game it is. Got a lot of content in there. I would also like to point out that Slam City with Scottie Pippen, which is a FMV basketball game for the Sega CD. Yeah, that was a genre, and it's the only installment on the list. That also had 4 CDs, so just having a lot of discs doesn't necessarily, mean quality. So maybe I might chill stream the Omega Stone, because it seems like the type of game where you just wander around and look at hieroglyphs and contemplate what the hell you're doing with your life. So we'll take a look at that. Anyways, next one. This is just for my personal collection. It is an actual CD of Steve Maraff's Maximum Mahjong. We played the World of Games collection a few years ago on the stream, and because that was a game that I was hunting down, trying to find, and luck shined in my favor, and I was able to pick up a copy of World of Games at a thrift store for like $3. So this is actually, Maraff's bread and butter. The dude loves Mahjong. So you get over 200 tile sets, 100 music selections, 50 layouts. Let's look on the back here. What kind of jongs you get? 4, you get more jong, you get 3D jong, you get ring jong, you get sphere jong. Guys, you need to calm down with the jong. It's a lot of jong. It's a lot of jong. Also, this is also published by Global Star Software. It's the only company that would listen to Steve in a fucking meeting room talk about Mahjong for 45 fucking minutes. You don't get it. So you played Mahjong with the tiles. But what if they were lifesaver rings? But let me finish. What if they were also spheres, and you clicked on them, and the background was a picture of a tiger, and every time you clicked them, there's a sound effect that I made. I did this with my mouth. I recorded a sound effect. When you get the balls, they go every time you click them. What if we did that? What if we did that and put that on the CD too? And then Global Star Software is like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Whatever. Call it Maximum Mahjong. 4 complete Mahjong games. Compatible with every fucking version of Windows known to man in the year 2000, 2001. Then I got another game for my collection. I've been collecting a lot of these reissues of
Sega PC games by Expert Software, these little budget title releases. This is just Sega Formula Carts. I've never played it. I looked on the back. It looks like a Mario Kart 64 knockoff. Maybe with... No, it doesn't say Track Maker. It just says it just comes with 8 tracks. But it does, I mean, if you look down here, it does have Sega's 1 to 8 players, which I don't think I've ever seen that variant of it. But I will say the most important thing, the most important takeaway for this is this little thing right here by my thumb that says this piece of software is Y2K compliant. So, if this was $19.99 and you absolutely had to get your really crappy 3D go-kart fix, and you bought Sega carts without Sonic, if you bought the version of Sonic R that had none of the Sonic R characters in it, basically this game would not come to life and try to download itself into your brain when the clock struck midnight on New Year's for the year 2000. I don't know if I'll ever play this. Like I said, I just collect these. I have the other ones I've got Sonic R, I've got Sonic CD, the Sonic and Knuckles collection, I've got the Sega Smash Pack, I've got like one other one over there. I can't see it from where I'm sitting, but like I said, I collect these, so it's just a little thing I picked up, and I'm sure the game sucks. Is it 2020 compliant? I don't know. Might not be. The clock's gonna roll over again. I guarantee none of these games are Unix compliant. And then finally, I saved the best for last, and we're definitely gonna play this on the stream at some point in time. We got...
Now I'm going to cover this up because you're not going to believe it if I just said it right now. We got extreme... Oh, fuck. Hang on. Let's do another take because my camera fucked up. We've got extreme boards and blades brought to you by, guess, the fucking company. Mountain Dew. Also, this used to belong to somebody named Tirado, I guess. But Mountain Dew presents extreme boards and blades. You got people on the cover. This guy's wearing a Mountain Dew shirt, which you probably could have guessed that. Even if I was covering that, I'd be like, well, the kid is wearing. He is doing the do. He is doing the do down there. This is by Head Games, whom you might recall as being the people responsible for Extreme Paint Brawl, which I also own a copy of, and we haven't played it because, as luck would have it, that game barely worked on real hardware back in the day, and trying to get it to set up in a virtual machine, not very easy. Not very easy. And I can't tell if the game isn't working because the game just doesn't work, or if the game isn't working because there's some configuration setting wrong on my end. An anthropomorphic Triceratops whose biker jacket says he's one of the BC bikers. I meant to look that up, but I forgot to do that because this guy looks super familiar, but I don't know from where. When I saw him hanging on the little peg bag inside a little Ziploc baggie, I thought he was one of the Sinclairs. I thought he was one of the characters from Dinosaurs. And I'm like, no, he's a Triceratops. I don't know who the hell he is. But basically, like I said, his Thriller jacket shows that he's from the BC Bikers. His fucking denim demonstrates that he is most certainly a fan of Bruce the Boss Springsteen. And then because of his weird articulation, it looks like he's wearing a diaper. So... it's just he was a little too it's just a little too strange for me to pass up. And you guys know every time I travel somewhere and I go to these junk dealers, I always bring home more fucking action figures that I don't need. Last time it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger and apparently a Power Rangers Minotaur demon, and I think I even brought back a Bucky O'Hare for some reason. I don't know. Is this Robbie's friend from Dinosaurs? Because I gotta be honest, I've seen that whole series all the way through. That was a very long time ago. And when I picked him up, I recognized him as being one of the characters from Dinosaurs, but then I second-guessed myself into thinking maybe he's from something else. But like I said, BC Bikers does ring a bell, and I don't know what he's from, but I like him, and I don't have any Anthro Triceratops toys, but I do now. So you know, Wave Key, we thought it was Bebop. I mean, but yeah, for all I know, it actually could be one of the secondary characters that Robbie goes to school with, because I think he is in high school. So that's like the prime age for being in a biker gang, man. What did their fucking bikes run off of? They didn't have gasoline back then, because all these assholes turned into gasoline. Fandramon has, according to Fandramon, the BC bikers were okay. Dinosaurs of the Chrome Age. He's supposed to come with a motorcycle, but that's absent. But the BC Bikers was its own line of toys in the 90s. That is what I was. That's what I was actually thinking when I first picked him up. Now I gotta find this sweet ass Harley for him to sit on. I also got a couple of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, but you'll see why I got them when I show them to you. We have right here the Spawn Alligator, who looks kind of like that one Pokemon. Oh man, this camera hates holographic cards. Please focus. There we go. Look at that guy. Crocodile? Is that the Pokemon I'm thinking of? Anyways, he looks pretty cool. It says during the end phase of the turn, this card was tribute summoned. That's a proper noun. Tribute summoned. During the end phase is also a proper noun. During the end phase of the turn, this card was tribute summoned by tributing a reptile-type monster. Target one monster that was used for the tribute summon of this card. Special summon it from the graveyard. Folks, this is why I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I can read this sentence about 40 times. I don't know what the fuck it means. So yeah, we got one of these guys. And the next one is, of course, the lion alligator, named as such because look at that beautiful mane that he's got. I did get a couple of T-shirts. You guys may have noticed from Loot Cam, I have a Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past shirt. That's one of the shirts. The other one is this. It's like a fucking vaporwave Super Nintendo on a grid shirt, and I don't really own any clothing that has like Super Nintendo things on them, so I picked up both of these shirts. Cost me $20, not each, but they were $10 a piece. So I was like, why the hell not? I mean, you know, I can get myself some new clothes and wear them on the stream, and you guys think they're cool, so I got that. And now I can actually, like, you know, wear different clothes on the stream, so I don't, because I realize that sometimes I'll wear a shirt that I wore in like 2014, and thankfully nobody else besides me has noticed that. So somebody else was selling handmade coasters based on movie monsters, so I picked up, I'm pretty sure I can show this on Twitch because I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know who this is, but I've been calling her the Titty Monster to everybody whom I've sent a picture of this to. She's basically a titty monster. That's what it is. You can't tell me otherwise. And that's really the only joke I have to say about that. So here's zooming on the face. It's probably from like an Ultraman or a Godzilla movie. I'm leaning more towards Ultraman because this doesn't seem like the type of monster that would be in a Godzilla movie. I like that you guys like the nickname Titty Monster, but now Titty Monster can officially become something in the background of every GatorUNbox, because that means I don't need this nasty black coaster anymore. That means I can throw that over there, and now I can put my cola down on the Titty Monster, and hopefully that's waterproof, because if I pick it up and it's like melting, then I'll be like, oh no, my Titty Monster. So we got that, and now since we're getting into the realm of people making things, I picked up a couple of other interesting things from vendors who were selling things what they have made. And there's a guy, his name is 8BitZero, and his website is 8bitzero.com. That's the number 8 and the number 0. 8bitzero.com. And he sells a lot of artwork and a lot of really interesting things, but he has these handmade pins. And I decided to pick, you know, I could have picked like the Ninja Turtles or other weird things like that, but I decided to go with a Xenomorph Garfield from A Week in Garfield and the Ghost from Pokemon Red and Blue. The unidentified, you don't have a Silph Scope ghost from Gen 1 Pokemon. So I'll zoom in on these two guys right here. I think the alien is from one of the Sega Genesis games, because that sprite seems to be a much higher resolution than I'm in bad games, John, it's what I do. Garfield. I got the Garfield pin because why the you come on, man, you see that for sale and the guy's only asking like $5 for it, and come on, it's a Garfield pin. When's the next time you're gonna see one of those? I don't know, but got those, and then I also got the Ghost from Pokemon Red and Blue, and when hang on, let me focus on that. Yeah. And when I talked to the artist who was making these, I asked him, I'm like, why don't you make like a Missing No one? And he's like, isn't that what that is? And I'm like, okay, well, technically, I had to give him the spiel. I gave him like the quick Cliff Notes version. I'm like, technically, you're not incorrect because the game stores this picture in one of the slots occupied by Missing No. But this in and of itself is not Missing No. This is the Ghost from Sylph Tower or Pokemon Tower. So I said you're right, but you're also not right at the same time. But I said if you made like the little L block Missing No thing, I'm like that would. People have come around, and that's like a hot commodity right now because people love the weird stuff from Generation 1. I said if you made Missing No pins, you'd sell out because I want one. So and he's like, yeah, other people have asked for them too, and he's like, yes, you should probably look into that. Wouldn't be very difficult to make because I mean it's really just a mess of pixels. The work is just kind of done for you. So did that. Also, hang on, we have an update on the Titty Monster. Apparently, if I open this link, I'm trusting this because it's only posted by Fangemon on the Godzilla wiki. The thing that we've been calling Titty Monster is actually King Caesar, who first appeared in the 1974 film Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. And the picture on the wiki is this exact picture, except it's in color, so I feel like I've been lied to. And obviously, if the name King didn't tip you off, they go on to use exclusively male pronouns to refer to this character in this article, meaning that this is not a woman at all. And I have been had. But you know what? Buddy, you got some nice like C cups right here, and I don't think those are moobs. I think my headcanon is a little bit better. This is the Titty Monster as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to call it anything else ever on this show. It's the Titty Monster, and it's on my coaster now, and that's to keep the sponsors happy. One of the other things that people were making is I actually have the business card from these folks too. This is the pixelized princess at thepixelizedprincess.com, and I guess she was there with a helper or her partner. I'm not actually sure because a gentleman rang me up and checked me out. But there definitely was a pixelized princess also behind the counter, so I don't know the dynamic. But they made a bunch of canvas wraps of games, of game characters, and they would also they also would make they would take existing like painting quality prints, like not like an actual painting, but they'd get like a painting of a waterfall, and they would make sprite artwork from, you know, some of the Final Fantasy characters and put them in the scene so they kind of pop on the picture. So you have these 8 and 16-bit sprites in this realistic looking painting. A lot of cool stuff. I thought it was very creative. That's the type of stuff that I like, even if it's like perler beads. If you go above and beyond with it, I appreciate that. It catches my attention, and I think it's interesting. So they were selling these little acrylic standees of characters, and I picked up several of them because they were making standees of characters that really you hardly ever see a whole lot of merchandise of. So the first ones I have are, of course, Chip and Dale, the Rescue Rangers, and their stands are these little acorns. So you clip them in, and then they stand up. So then you have your two little guys right there, and then they can go and they can kiss. And people have been writing fanfics about that for like 25 years. So so I thought these were neat. I mean, they are markedly high quality, And they were only asking, I mean, these were technically in the scratch and dent pile because there's a couple imperfections with the paint that they kind of got damaged or something. Only on the base, though, so that doesn't really bother me too much, and you're not really going to see that. So they were only asking $8 for the pair for these, and I'm like, you can't get Chip without Dale, so I'm going to pick up both. And I think they're adorable, and I couldn't say no. But then one thing, the reason why I stopped at their table is because they also had a Birdo from Super Mario Brothers 2. And if you guys watched Your Level Sucks, you will know in the most recent stream we did, I said Birdo is my favorite Super Mario character. And I mean that in like, I'm talking Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Bowser, Peach. I'm talking about of all the characters in the Super Mario universe, Birdo's my favorite. And so I picked this one up because, like I said, Birdo unfortunately has no official merchandise, aside from like a couple of plushies and that weird piece from the chess set that I showed off on Your Level Sucks. So a lot of what you're down to is just fan-made stuff. So this is a very nicely rendered sprite from Super Mario Brothers 2. She's also bigger than these guys. So I bought her separately. And then this is something that I bought, and I was thinking about giving it to a buddy of mine, but then I found something way cooler that is way more up his alley than a Sprite printout, acrylic Sprite painted thing would be. So I'm keeping this one, and I got him something a lot cooler. I could put Birdo on the wall. I could put her there, because like I said, the chess piece is at my desk where I edit videos. But here is. And this is the best. This is the best thing. This is the best one. So this one, I couldn't pass it up. It's also the biggest one. So I spent $10 on just this one alone. But it is Earthworm Jim with his pants down. His idle animation where his pants just fall down and it shows his boxers. And his stand, the bottom of his sprite are his pants, and then his stand is the rest of his pants. So when you put him up, it has like a three-dimensional effect that his pants are around his ankles, and I thought that was fantastic because it would have been so easy to just make one of Earthworm Jim like brandishing his gun and I don't know, making the base, making it like a worm or something like that, like a little pixel worm for him to stand in. But the fact that the artist went with making it out of his idle animation where his pants drop down. That was another like, well, I can't say no to that. It's too funny. I can't pass that up. So I picked up Earthworm Jim. I don't know where I'm gonna display some of these. I would like to find a place on the shelf for Birdo. I might cull some of the things that are still hard to see. I noticed actually up there's a white thing that looks really weird in the top left. That's actually a paper doll of Bob Ross that has fallen over. So I guess I should have fixed that before the stream, but whatever. Tony and I went to a Japanese market that was nearby. He had never heard of it, even though he lives in Houston. It's called Daisho, and it's basically like a Japanese... I don't want to say it's like a Japanese Dollar Tree, but it's more like a Japanese Dollar General, where they kind of sell a little bit of everything you would need for your home, but there's a Japanese flair to it, and all the prices is like, it's less than $10 for everything in the store. Most of it is like $1.50, and one of the things I picked up are petite blocks, very tiny, very muy pequeño Legos. You can see right here, I mean, they're tiny. You guys know I like to collect Lego products that are not Legos. We used to have a show about it on this channel until I had a hard time making it funny. So this is going to be something that I'm probably not going to do anything with for quite some time. But it makes a dolphin, and it's from a Series 2, and it's from, if we can focus on this, Friends of the Sea, which is just endearingly adorable because it's its own little English way. And on the back, it doesn't say what else is in the set. It just says, use and keep out of reach of infants. Do not use this product for purposes other than its intended purposes. I don't know, like,
Please use product under parental or guardian supervision. Small parts, as there is a risk of accidental ingestion or suffocation. This product is not suitable for use by children under 3 years of age. Like, that one makes the most sense out of all of it, I think. The other thing I got from Daisho, which I thought about getting this for GatorUnbox until I realized that it's probably going to be a disaster of a stream. So I'm going to show it off here, and then maybe as a gag, I'll do a chill stream where I try to solve this, because it is a 120-piece puzzle, and the catch is that it's blank. There's no picture on it. And I confirmed that it's not just like, this is what the puzzle die looks like, and then there's other things. No, I opened it, and there is not a single goddamn thing printed on any of these. It's just white. And they're also very tiny. And when I saw that it was a blank puzzle, I couldn't pass it up. I don't actually know how you would solve this, because usually when they do puzzle dies, like, a lot of these pieces are going to be the same. They will fit in multiple places, which I guess maybe that'll make it maybe not as hard as I would have imagined. But, you know, usually when there's a picture there, you know, even if the piece fits, if it doesn't match with the picture, then you know it doesn't go there. But this is just literally just a white puzzle. It even says not recommended for beginners, but it is for ages 6 and up. So I feel like if a 6-year-old can solve a puzzle that has nothing printed on it, I might stand a pretty good chance at doing that too. Orky Bork, you put it together, you get White World. It's White World the puzzle. I will say, it would be funny. It would be funny to put this together and then to go through the trouble of going to, like, Michael's, the hobby store, and getting, like, the puzzle glue and gluing it together and putting it in a frame. And because, you know, people do that. I know, like, old ladies do that, and I think my cousin did that when she was younger, and she for some reason she liked puzzles, but she also liked, like, thrash metal music and stuff. So next to her posters of, like, Tool, there was a framed puzzle she had done of, like, a still life bowl of fruit. I'm like, that's weird. But I think it would be funny to treat this the same way people treat completed puzzles that they are very proud of. I got a couple of stories for you. So some of y'all know I'm a bit of a professional gamer, a bit of a competitive gamer. I speedrun. I got a couple of world records. I don't want to brag. I don't want to be humble brag here. But I also, whenever I go to conventions and game conventions and expos like that, if they have a tournament for a game that I feel confident at, I'll sign up, and we'll see how it goes. And a couple years ago, I've told this story on this channel before. It's buried in one of the videos on the YouTube channel somewhere. But there's a group called the Retro World Series, and at the Austin Classic Gaming Festival a couple years ago, they had a tournament for Combat on the Atari 2600. And I joined for the hell of it, just for fun, because I play Combat. It's a great game. I grew up playing it. I played it with my dad all the time, played it with my friends all the time, and I got pretty good at it. I was pretty competent at Combat. So competent that I won the tournament there. I got 50 whole bucks for winning it, because it wasn't like one of their headline things. But I made it exciting because I knew how the angles of all the shots worked in the game, and basically demolished everybody on my way up there. So I told that story, and now I have another story to tell you. And it's another Atari tournament they did. It just so happens I already own the game, so this is my copy of the game. But the game was Frogs and Flies for the 2600, which is just a game where you play as a frog and you jump around across 2 lily pads and you try to catch flies that buzz around at the top of the screen. There's only ever a maximum of 2 flies out at any given time, so it's all about timing. It's about knowing there's 3 different types of jumps you can do. A very tall one that's more of a 45-degree angle, and one that's just a long jump to get you across the screen. And depending on how long you hold the joystick down, you'll either jump a lot or just a little bit. So it's all about the timing. It's about figuring out what jump you need to make and how long you have to hold the joystick so that your frog will connect with the fly that goes by, and you press the button, stick your tongue out, and you get some points. It's a fun game to play, more challenging to me than Combat, actually. So I showed up for the Frogs and Flies tournaments. They introduced me as a returning champion because I did win the Combat one, and I gotta say, I gave it my absolute best effort, but the best I could do is I came home with second place. And getting there was a ham sandwich and a half, because essentially what happened is that there weren't really a whole lot of people that signed up for the tournament. So what they did is they did a round robin thing where everybody played everybody and they tallied up the points, and whoever had the most points at the end would be considered the winner, and second place with the most points, and so forth and so on. But everybody there was pretty evenly matched, and that's largely because there's a heavy factor of RNG when you play this game. Sometimes the flies will not appear on your side of the screen, and your opponent will just always be able to get them before you can. So that happened. So what ended up happening is there was a three-way tie between me and two other people, all for first place. So we all had to play each other again as another round robin to eliminate one of us so that the remaining two could then rematch in the finals. And I made it all the way to the finals. And when you play Frogs and Flies, it's one of those games where the score kind of ekes up. And you want to stay... What you want to do is pull ahead, because once you start to pull ahead, you just tend to keep going, and you start to widen that gap. And basically, whoever does that first is going to win the match. And it got down. We did best 2 out of 3 for all of these. And I shit you not, there were people who were more excited for Frogs and Flies than there were for like Soul Calibur and Dr. Mario and these other more intense games, because it came down to literally the 2 best people there at the convention. And the guy that I lost to, he earned it. He was a phenomenal guy. He was the first guy I went up against, and I knew from looking at him, I'm like, this is going to be the dude that's going to give me the most trouble. I beat him in the preliminaries. And then when we did the rematches, I beat him again. But then when we did the finals, he kicked my ass and I couldn't keep up. But we did get 1-1. So we did the final game out of the best 2 out of 3. And by that point, there was a little crowd that had amassed because they put it on the big screen. They were showing it as like championship match. The game's all tied up. Who's going to pull ahead? Is it going to be this guy? Is it going to be Draco? Who's going to win? And unfortunately, I didn't take home the gold, but I had a lot of fun with it. And this was a lot more intense, I think, than Combat, because Combat is a very methodical game where you kind of drive your tank around, you kind of plot your shots, you take the shots you can get, and you aim to get your opponent in multiple hits. You want to either stun lock them or get them set up so that you can shoot them once, and when their iframes wear off, you can whip your turret around and immediately get them again. That's what it's all about. But Frogs and Flies, you're never not on your toes, because, like I said, you don't know where the flies are coming out of. You don't know what side of the screen. You don't know what height they're going to go at. You don't know if it's going to fly halfway across the screen and then go back the other way. You don't know if they're going to change altitude and either dip down or go up. It's a very intense game to play in a tournament setting. And I'm proud of myself for getting second. So I have some pictures I took at the event, and I'm going to get them printed out, and I'm going to put this inside of a little display case too. I don't know if I'm going to put the cartridge inside the thing, because they don't really go in frames too well. I just brought this out to show off from my personal collection. But I had a lot of fun. Retro World Series, they really stepped up their metal game. This is a much nicer metal, and I am really looking forward to the next time I bump into these guys, because they remembered me when they saw me. They were like, "Hey, you won one of our things in the past." I'm like, "I sure did." So I had a lot of fun with that. So Retro World Series, thank you for making my convention experience a positive one. I had a lot of fun. You had to pay to join this one. It was Smash 64. The entry fee was $10. I joined in, and they had their spreadsheets and their records and stuff like that, and I told the guy, I said, when you introduce me, I want you to call me Draco the Undefeatable. And then the guy gave me a funny look, and he's like, have you played Smash somewhere else? Because you're not in our system. I'm like, no. I've never played a professional Smash game in my life. I just want you to introduce me as Draco the Undefeatable because it's going to piss people off, and it's funny. And he was like, all right, whatever. So they did that, and it was double elimination, and it turns out that the first person that they drew me to fight was one of the people I beat in this was this little kid. But I didn't actually beat him because that little son of a bitch had really good RNG, so he tarnished my perfect record in the preliminaries. He beat me in Frogs and Flies, and he's the only reason why I didn't automatically win the tournament by sweeping everybody by sweeping everybody else who signed up. So we had a rematch in Smash Brothers, and I played as like Jigglypuff, and he played as Samus. And it was, again, best 2 out of 3. It was like 5 stock or something, and I managed to beat him. But he was a good sport about it, and he was really clued into a lot of like Twitch humor. So he and I would like banter back and forth. I had a lot of fun playing against him because he was the only opponent that I could have been drawn to fight that would not just have immediately destroyed me. Because that's exactly what happened in the second fight, and in the third, when I went to the losers bracket, it happened again. Because all the people that are like really fucking serious about Smash 64, they always play as Pikachu for some reason. And I think it's because all of Pikachu's moves are overpowered and they suck. And I could tell one guy took it seriously both guys took it seriously because the first guy showed up with his own fucking controller, not just playing on the N64 controllers that were provided by the guys. He showed up with his own fucking controller and insisted that he use it, and that's fine as per the tournament rules. And he beat my ass with Pikachu. And then the second guy had been practicing for so much that he had developed a blister, an open wound on his thumb. And he also brought his own controller. But he had been playing and practicing so much for, I guess, the entire duration of the convention up to that point that he developed a blister, and then he beat me. But ironically, he was the guy in the losers bracket, so I guess all that practicing really wasn't worth it if you still fucking lost your first round. But it was funny. And we kind of told some jokes about it, and I said, hey, everybody, I would like to announce my formal resignation as a professional Super Smash Brothers player. It's been a great journey. I've met a lot of great folks. I've made a lot of memories, and these are going to stay with me for the rest of my life. And then I was like, I'm ending my Smash career with a lifetime record of 1 win, 2 losses, and 0 draws. Thank you very much. It's been great. Then I just walked off. And the guy's like, well, that was Draco the Unbeatable. But it was great because for like that one moment where I beat the first person on the tournament bracket, you know, the guy behind, like the guy who's in charge of keeping track of the brackets, you know, he looked at that and was like, huh. You know, there was one moment, even if it was just that, even if it was just a split second, you know, he was like, who is this guy? And then I just bombed out the next 2. I tried to pick Luigi, and I managed to hit somebody with his mega up and B move, and I got people with the Jigglypuff, the forbidden jutsu, the down and B. I was there just to have fun. And I paid $10 to get in, and I got $10 worth of enjoyment out of it, and I didn't win my money back. I wasn't expecting to. I thought I was going to lose back to back, and I think it's funny that I beat one person while I was there. So at least I have a 33%. I can retire with a 33% win percentage. And just as long as you don't know the numbers behind that, I mean, maybe that's impressive. I don't know, but I had a lot of fun there. And really, the highlight of the expo for me was being able to see so many vintage arcade games there in working condition. They had a lot of pinball games set up there too, but I'm not really too much of a pinball buff. But they had the Super Mario Brothers pinball game, which I had only seen in a non-functional state at the Austin
Classic Gaming Expo, I got to play a little bit of Super Mario Pinball. I suck at it because I suck at pinball, period. I played the original Jurassic Park pinball. I sucked at that because I suck at pinball. But one thing I don't suck at is Shaolin's Road. And I set the high score on every... There was not a dedicated Shaolin's Road cabinet, right? But there were those multi-arcade things. And I went to every single one of them, and I set a basically probably unbeatable high score on every single iteration of Shaolin's Road that I could find at the convention. And as far as I know, nobody beat any of them because I'm that kind of person. But that reminds me. Speaking of Shaolin's Road, there were some things I got. I put them over here because they were too big. I'm going to show them real quick because I am trying to wrap this up because we got to move on to tonight's game. But you guys know I love arcade games. I love Shaolin's Road. That's my favorite arcade game. We did it for the Extra Life charity event where we played through one loop. And as a community, we've kind of given nicknames to the boss characters in the game and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. And one thing I collect are marquees from the light boxes of arcade games because they're generally fairly inexpensive. Because even if you wanted to buy like a Donkey Kong marquee, in good condition, it's only like $20 because hundreds, if not thousands, of cabinets for these were made. So buying just the little plexiglass that has the artwork on it is surprisingly affordable. So every time I go to these expos, I like to look to see what people have for sale. Sometimes I'll buy I'll buy the marquees from games that maybe I'm not familiar with, but I like the art. So I have one of them called like Thunder Dragon that I bought a few years ago, and I don't know what Thunder Dragon is, but the artwork has a neat blue dragon in space, so I'm like, I'm not gonna say no to that. Or sometimes I'll like the coloration and the lettering. I got another one called Thief that has really big red block lettering on like a bright yellow background, and and there's like a little cop car next to it. Like, that looks visually appealing. So I did actually get a few more. This one I only got. I'm going to show them off to the loot cam, or can I show them off down here? I guess, I don't know. Can you guess why I bought this one? Give you a hint. It's not this motherfucker on the right. It's this. It's over here on the left. It's the beat 'em up Alien vs Predator game from Capcom. I picked up this one. This one I actually did not spend a whole lot of money on because I think the previous arcade that had it fucked with this and they cut some of it off, because you can see the plexiglass is cut very close to the Capcom thing, and holes have also been drilled in it. So this will take a little bit of work if I were to mount it inside of my own light box, but you never know. But I had to get AVP because I wouldn't be. I'm gonna. They want to kiss each other. It's Alien loves Predator, not Alien versus Predator. But talking about Shaolin's Road, I nearly shit my pants when I saw the guys selling these marquees, because look at what he's got. He had the marquee, the original marquee, to Shaolin's Road, the dedicated arcade game. This I need to scrape off and use some Goo Gone on it and stuff like that to make sure that the residue is gone. But that's your player character. And then if you've seen the game, you'll recognize this as Evil Tunabout Tony, the boss of the first stage. I think this is the guy that Fangemon nicknamed Shanghai Pork from the 5th stage. And then either that or he's over here. And then I don't know who. I think this is just a generic enemy. But this is my absolute favorite arcade game ever. And now I have the marquee from it, so I'm definitely going to make a light box for it. I wasn't expecting to find that, and when I picked it up, I was like, oh my god, you have this. And the seller was like, I've never even played that game. What is it? I'm like, that's what everybody says. But here's a fun fact not a lot of people know about Shaolin's Road, and I know I've told you guys this because I play it on the stream. Shaolin's Road was released in the States as Shaolin's Road, and I guess people thought it had too much of an oriental slant to it, because then it got re-released as a game called Kicker with identical graphics, but they whitewashed the main character here, and to make it look more like the Kung Fu game for the NES. And it just so happens
that the seller also had the marquee for Kicker. Here's evil Tunaboat Tony again. He got kicked in the face. So not only did he have the marquee from the first game, he had the marquee from the re-release as well. So I'm like, well shit, I'm getting both of these. You got Shaolin's Road and you got Kicker. And because he didn't know what those games were, he gave them to me for like $5 a piece. But it gets better. It gets better because I collect all sorts of marquees, but there's one marquee that I've always been chasing down, and you guys are going to know why when I show it to you. Because it's larger than the usual ones. But it just so happens that I actually asked these guys if they had this when I was there, and they said they didn't think so. So when I went back to the second day of the convention, I saw that it had been set aside, presumably because they saw it in their pile of stuff they hadn't put out yet, and they were like, didn't some dude ask about that yesterday? So I showed up and I was walking around the convention, and ladies and gentlemen, they have the marquee to Super Off-Road. I'm sorry, Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Super Off-Road. And this is a big-ass one. I mean, I can put it through here, but, you know, it's it's a little too big. There's the truck. This is the arcade release. This is, this plastic print is in a little bit bad shape, but I can flatten it out with a little bit of pressure and mounting it right. But they had the marquee from Super Off-Road. And not only that, not only did they have the marquee for Super Off-Road, they had the marquee that you would swap out and put in place of the old one if your arcade bought the updated version of the game, which had the 8 extra stages, that had the Super Off-Road, there's the logo again, the Super Off-Road track pack with, that's Mickey Thompson, that's the asshole that drives the silver truck that you always lose to. But down over here it says track pack. So the original Super Off-Road only came with 8 stages, which was artificially inflated to 32 because you had the courses front ways and back ways, and then front ways and back ways with obstacles on the course. So you had 32 courses. So the track pack gave you 8 more courses on top of the 8 you already had. So now you had 64. So you had 16 courses, front ways and back ways, and then the same with obstacles. So you added a lot of replayability to it. So they had not just the first Super Off-Road marquee, but the slightly more rare track pack variant of it, and that blew me away. So I had to get both of those. I only paid $20 for the pair because they're slightly larger. They did have the plexiglass for it, but it's kind of dinged up and not in very good shape. One of the corners is all busted off, so I'll have to get another sheet of it if I'm going to make a light box for it. I'll put that out of the way. But there is one more thing, because I set it down over there, and this is just, I bought this because it's cute. I have records and laser discs that I frame and hang on the wall that the camera's not pointed at. And sometimes I'll buy things not if I actually like them or if I've listened to them or seen them or I think they're nice or whatever. Sometimes I'll buy it just because I like the artwork on the vinyl case. And this is a sound-alike record. It's not Peter, Paul, and Mary, but it's a sound-alike of Puff the Magic Dragon. And I think this little dragon right here trying to cook hot dogs, and he's just burning them, I think is very cute. And he's even down here, he's got some mustard to put on his his hot dogs. So this is not the version of the song by Peter, Paul, and Mary. It was very popular back in the day to just make sound-alikes and sell them just because people didn't know any better back then. So this is actually performed by the Bubblegum Singers and their orchestra. I don't think the orchestra part is actually real, but I've already got a frame for it, and I'm going to put up Puff the Magic Dragon somewhere just because this type of old vintage cartoony adorable dragon stuff makes me very happy, and I couldn't say no to Puff the Magic Dragon. But alright, so that's all the stuff I got when I was in Houston. It's another one of those videos that's going to take forever to watch. But as many of these things, they wouldn't be very good standalone unboxes on their own, so now's the time I just show them all off at once.
now I have to find ways to incorporate them into my belongings in a way that doesn't make me look like a hoarder, which is always, that's the challenging part. That and getting the money to spend on all this crap. But, hey, thanks for checking out GatorBox on YouTube. We really appreciate it. If you like what you saw and you want to kick around with us live, follow us on Twitch, because we do this several times during the week. And if you want to support this channel, you can do so by subscribing right here on YouTube, following or subscribing over on Twitch, or even making a pledge on Patreon. Your support over the years has been tremendous. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video right here on GatorBox.